What up? This is your boy DoBoy, and this is another installment of Sober Saturdays. What is Sober Saturdays? You should already know because I think we're on like the fifth, sixth episode. But if you don't know what it is, it's about me talking about my life and my journey and getting sober and staying sober and living a sober life. It started off as a vlog series, but now I've kind of pivoted and I'm bringing in guests that can kind of talk to me and have a different perspective on sobriety and kind of share some of their life lessons and what they're going through. So today I have a very, very special guest. He is a very, very talented young man. He has a graffiti background. He has a hip hop background. He's just a very artistic young man, and he has dealt with some struggles with addiction in his past, but he's living a sober life and even helping other folks get and stay sober. So allow me to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, Monstroe.
What's up?
But I know that's one of your monikers is Monstroe.
Yeah, that's the the music handle is Monstroe, and the art and the graffiti go under Stro One.
Now, where does that come from? Which came first, the Monstroe or the Monstroe One?
The graffiti was my first love. I've been into graffiti since around 86, 87.
Okay.
And it grew into a more art-based type of thing, like, you know, murals and portraits and stuff like that.
So let me ask you this. So we just gonna hop straight into it then.
All right.
So are you originally born and raised in California?
Born and raised in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, California. So
Crenshaw District.
Hey, there we go. Okay, Crenshaw District. So 86, 87. So this is around the explosion of hip hop because we're celebrating the 50th year of hip hop, and you know the hip hop heads really know the elements of hip hop are the DJ, the MC, breakdancing, and graffiti.
Yes.
A lot of people don't be realizing that. So were you heavily influenced, like as a young cat in the '80s, like seeing it kind of move from the East Coast? Walk me through what your introduction to graffiti was.
Well, let's see. We are one of our main veins for hip hop was 1580 KDAY. Mm-hmm. That's where a lot of it streamed from, you know, that music station back in the days. And
okay.
As well as, you know, when MTV got really cracking and
started dropping the music videos, dudes spinning on their head and stuff.
In the videos and shit. And, yeah. So, you know, graffiti goes way back to like the Egyptian times, man. Like,
really?
Regards to like hieroglyphics, visual communication period. I had to grow to understand and do the research on that.
Okay.
But, you know, it's all visual communication. So LA being how territorial we are.
Absolutely.
They say territories tell stories, you know.
I like that.
Whether it be gangster script, graffiti script, and, you know, the streets tell stories. So I think I've been exposed to it by like at a real young age, you know, before I can even really comprehend.
Okay.
You know, it had an influence on me.
Because I know mid-'80s, there's a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying, young brothers could get into, whether it be the gang activity, the drug activity, but you gravitate towards graffiti. And how did you get the name? Now, explain to me a little bit of how the name comes along.
Well, I went through a few names, man.
Okay.
First of all, in L.A., when we were part of the bus mobbing epidemic.
Okay, bus mobbing?
Yeah.
What is this?
People wrote on the outside and insides of RTD bus.
Okay.
You know, this was back in the days. And the thing about LA graffiti, a lot of cats was already falling under the branches of like sets, gangs. It's just that we all came together with this new thing that was taking off called graffiti.
Got it. So there was like crews and rival graffiti crews then.
Exactly, because the gangbang element was still there. The sickness and territorial stuff is prevalent in many ways that people can really comprehend.
Got you. So that's so okay. So take me back to a little bit of your childhood. Like, you know, was it, you know, mom and pops in the house, single parent household? Like, tell me a little bit about your upcoming.
My story is like baby boy. You know, pops wasn't around. Mom's got with step pops. I didn't like him at first. He was way more hood, way more experienced, and you know, he had my mom's wrapped around his finger. You know, Mom's was a hard worker. You know, she was from Compton, and she burned a lot of midnight oil and became prevalent in the nursing field. You know, worked at Cedars-Sinai. So I've seen her go through a lot of stuff at her early age, domestic violence and stuff like that. So when she found the cat who was solid, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and just could put a smile on her face, she was like, "Hey,"
She
you know,
gravitated towards
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's kind of, you were just left kind of like odd child out at this
Yeah,
point. So it's
yeah.
just.
So I kind of just turned to the streets. Like,
And were you the only child?
nah, I have a lot of, I have a few older brothers and sisters from my biological father's side, which ironically I met them for the first time not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, but as far as my half younger brother and sisters, I'm the oldest of them.
Okay. And as far as with your mom, are you your mom's only child?
No.
So she has a couple kids as well. Like, okay, so it's a couple.
I'm her
of y'all-
first though.
You're your first. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're the oldest.
Yeah.
Okay. So then walk me through it. So you said, so you turned to the streets. What age was it that you kind of put down the G.I. Joes and you
Well,
said, I'm
I
going to get in the
mean-
field for real?
Let me see. I started kind of exhibiting destructive behaviors as early as like in elementary school.
Okay.
I remember this was like '84. I was in like 4th grade, and I would mess up at school. And I remember one time I got suspended and didn't tell her, and it just so happened to be picture day at the school.
Damn.
So I just played it off. She's like, "Hey, go the money for the pictures and all this." I'm like, "Damn, they didn't call." I'm not saying nothing. Like, I'm
taking this
suspended.
little bread. Right.
Yeah.
We'll
But she
take
seemed
this.
to be cool.
Right.
So let her drop me off at school, and I kind of just hid out.
Right.
You know, all day and shit. But it was like little behaviors that exhibited themselves.
So
at
was
a
you
young
like
age.
fighting a lot? Were you just like the class clown? Like what kind of behavior was it?
A little bit of both, man. Mischievous stuff, like destructive, starting fires and shit like that.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know, yeah, this was like in the neighborhood. You know, I had my first fight, and I was real young and shit. It was over on 8th Ave in Vernon, where everybody used to hang out at and shit. Yeah.
So you were getting into fights early, you're you know, starting fires. So some things are definitely going
Some
on.
behaviors are definitely
Something's
there.
up.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But we
something.
don't know
Yeah.
what's up just yet. But you know what I'm saying? But
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure this is a forecast of what's going to come in the future.
Right,
So
right.
so walk me through when you first. Now, first before I even ask you this question, I ask you a precursor question. Is drug usage, I mean, I can kind of guess about hip hop, but is drug usage prevalent in the graffiti game?
Definitely. Yeah, substance abuse period is rampant everywhere. It's just some frequencies are higher than others.
Okay.
You know, it's evident in a professional setting, very evident in a street setting. You know, and then it spills into the music, which is a whole nother machine and a vehicle for messaging and stuff. You know, so
Right, so
yeah.
it can be everywhere.
Yeah.
So walk me through. So you what age was it that you said that you got into like so it's about mid '80s you get into graffiti. Now, what came first? Was it graffiti or drug usage? Were you already dibbling and dabbling in drugs before then?
No,
So-
I
so you're in
wasn't. I mean,
graffiti.
my first drink was with my pops at a real young age, and it's a prevalent memory with my biological pops.
Walk
one
me
of
through
the
that
few
first time.
memories.
This is the first time that you ever touched any controlled substance. Walk me through that.
Well, like I say, my memories with my dad, my biological father are fragmented. So I would just get glimpses of the memories. And we were at a beach, and he had a term like, "Let's spill it down the hatch." And I remember it was a can of beer with the pullback. And
Okay.
That's long ago.
Yeah, I don't even know if I know that.
Pullback cap.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you pull back the cap. So is it that you can get more alcohol faster?
I don't know. I think that's just how they was just making.
So you pull back. So you remember him saying this?
I remember that.
Pull down the hatch.
Spill it down the hatch.
Spill it down the hatch.
Yeah.
And so you had seen him do this a million times before.
Yeah.
But today something's different.
Yeah, this
Okay.
specific memory stuck with me. That's the thing about when you're at a young, impressionable age, you just get glimpses of stuff, and they exhibit themselves when you least expect it.
Right.
You only can piece it together later down the line.
Exactly. I deal with that a lot. Like there's certain things in my life and my memory I can remember so clear and vivid, and then there's other things I can't tell you. Like my freshman year in high school, I can't tell you none of my teachers' names, but I can tell you like the second day of my sophomore year at a different school.
Right.
It's weird how our mind kind of processes.
It is
information
the
like
relation
that.
between subconscious and forefront conscious is
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So back to this day, you're hanging out with your pops now. At this point, what was your relationship like with him? Were you seeing him all the time? Was it far, time distance between when you would see him? him? Like, walk me. Like,
Yeah,
what was your guys?
A lot of different time. There's a lot of time gaps in times that I would see him.
Okay.
You know, my step pops coined this one term: "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe."
Okay.
Because that just speaks to the whole epidemic in our culture of the broken household.
That's a fact.
So I would just hear stories from my mother's side of the family, and this is what made me formulate the image of this man.
Got it.
Based on stories.
And so now you're with him that day, and walk me through your first drink. So he's drinking, and for whatever reason, he turns to you. Now, how old were you at this time?
I was young. I don't even
like
remember.
5,
that
6?
Single digit age.
Young.
Definitely, yeah. You know, as a young man, young boy coming up, you know, you used to hear that they'd put hair on your chest.
Yeah. Try this.
That type of shit, yeah.
So he gives you a beer and you slam it. Or you drink a lot of it?
I remember taking a sip of it. I was already curious of what beer tasted like.
Okay.
I know it had a soda vibe to it with the acid, but I was like, what is it really about?
Right.
Yeah.
So you take your first drink. Did you get drunk or you just took a drink?
I don't think I got drunk. I think I just took a drink.
So that's as a child. So that's a child. Pops let you have a drink of some beer. Cool. When was it that you decided I want to have a drink? Because I'm assuming you experimented with the alcohol before the drugs. Yes or no on that? Which one came first in that respect?
Well, when my mom stopped, I never seen my moms together with my pops, but my step pops, after he had left, was heavily into weed. Most of the male role models in my life was heavily into weed.
Smoked a lot of weed.
Growing it or buying it, smoking it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he had some weed. So did this make you want to experiment with some weed?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So was that the first thing you tried then? That was the first?
I think that was the first thing I tried. I was must have been like 9 or 10, and it was you know, we all used to hang on 8th Ave in Vernon, and it was this dude that stayed over there, and his car door would be always locked, and we would break into his car and smoke his roaches.
So you guys knew how to smoke weed, and it's at a very young age.
At a young age.
Me and my friends were stupid. I grew up, and I remember because we had heard people call weed grass. Yeah. We really literally put some grass in some paper, and like some regular school paper, and smoked like we were idiots. Okay, so you're experimenting, but this all still feels rather innocent. You smoke a beer with your pops. Okay, I think anybody can say they've done that. Yeah. You smoke a little reefer as a kid. That's still not, even though it's a little young for that, it still doesn't feel problematic.
Doing it for the sake of getting
right.
high.
You're not self-escaping.
You're
just mimicking behaviors.
Yeah.
So when was it that you decided I'm gonna fuck with some shit? Like, to walk me to then, was it partying? Was it graffiti culture? And hey, we kick it. Like, walk me through when we start the train ride.
That was around like I would say 10th grade.
So around 10th grade is when we started to get started in our drug career.
When I started going to school with bats of stress, like, you know, weed. Smoking on the break. And,
got you. So now you're smoking regularly.
It also was what was attractive to me. My stepdad at the time sold big weed, so I wanted to sell weed too.
So you had an active interest, like, I like doing this, but I could also sell it and make some money.
Right.
Or if nothing else, smoke for free.
Yeah, it was attractive. The whole lifestyle of it was attractive.
Okay, so now, the male role models in your life that you're seeing, they're having money, you know, peddling weed and they're getting high. So you're like, that's what I want to do.
All kind of other shit. I mean, not just weed, just like street shit. You know,
and so that's starting to have an effect on you.
It's starting to have an effect. Yeah.
Okay, so now walk me through when it starts to become regular, and what did it become regular on? So I know you're regularly smoking weed now. At this time, are you smoking? I mean, not smoking. Are you drinking? Are there any other drugs, or is it just kind of smoking some weed?
Drinking was secondary. That's just if it was there.
Just some shit you would do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So not nothing where it's like, I gotta have a drink. It was just, I'm smoking. All right, I have a shot of Henny or whatever.
And then, also in high school, around 10th grade, 9th grade, I started getting into like a lot of criminal stuff as well, like as regards to, like, you know, busting checks and little hustles and
scams,
shit
little
like that
stuff. Okay, so there was a street element in your life that was happening.
Yeah.
So you're involved in some streets. Was there any gang affiliation? So
well, I mean, let me see. You had the area I grew up in. You know, I think I dodged a put on like a few times, unbeknownst to me, like looking back. You know, I've been jumped on to some shit before, but it was kind of like it was kind of like akin to the tagging crew I was from.
Right. So it's just almost like an affiliation, or just, but not necessarily.
Not an official
like active member.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
But you are doing some
I'm
street activities though.
Yeah.
You're selling some weed, you busting some checks, you're whatever scams we out here doing when we young, moving around.
Yeah.
And now are you doing any jail time, or have you got caught up in the law? Because I'm assuming high school. So just as a whole, what's the high school experience? Is it just pretty normal outside of the weed smoking and selling?
Nah, I went to Crenshaw High School, and that's pretty much like a 6-0 school. Everybody there wanted to be from 60s, but I mean, me myself, I grew up in the 40s though. So I mean, but at Crenshaw High School, you had.
Do 60s and 40s get along? Are they on the same team?
Yeah, it was been a little bumps in the road here and there.
I just didn't know if these were rival schools or if you had a hard time at high school because
I
where
didn't
people
have a hard time.
Okay.
I mean, everybody was ready to see each other at Crenshaw. I was like my home school and shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But so at that school, like I remember I had stole a pound of weed from my step pops, and I took it to school.
A pound?
A pound.
Very ambitious young man are you, Much? You don't want to maybe start with an A for a zip?
Nah, I stole a
So he must have been moving big weight for you to think he wasn't going to notice a pound.
Yeah.
Or you just had the cojones to be like, yeah, I took it, and?
Well, I mean.
Maybe a little bit of both.
He told me a little later, he was like, I always knew that you took that, but, mind you, what you took wasn't nothing. So just know that. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
Think you got
so you guys kind of, seems like you guys kind of had a love-hate relationship. Maybe you didn't care for him so much, but it seems like you guys were also kind of
Well, there was a lot of different layers there. I'm the man of the house at 11 years old, just me, moms, and sis, and then this dude
at 11 years old, man of the house. That is crazy.
It's along the same sentence.
Right.
But this dude come along, way hip and shit, and all this shit. I'm trying to resist it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, nah, he be rocking gazelles though. This fool's on it and shit.
Right.
Like, he on the shit I want to be on. Fuck this fool though.
It's like I can't stand this guy. I like this guy though.
Yeah, a little shit I bring to him like I was listening to Ice-T tape. He's doing movie colors and that. Like, oh, T, yeah, but I used to work as manager at the Playboy Club. I know. Fuck you, though.
Good friend of mine.
Yeah.
You mean Terrell? That's what T stands for. Oh, you mean Terrell?
Yeah.
So you make it through high school. So I'm just paraphrasing, and I'm just painting a picture for everybody to know, because I feel like that's definitely important to know before we just hop into the meat and potatoes of.
Yeah.
So you were doing drugs. Like, I think it's important to know, where people come from, their background.
My high school years was very prominent, and also they were monumental, considering that's when the LA riots took off when I was in 11th grade. I remember it kicking off while I was at school.
Wow.
And
did you
jumping on the big PA speaker? Everybody go home. And
did you go grab a TV?
I didn't go straight home. I didn't grab no TV.
Yeah, I know you grabbed some Skittles or something, man.
Some shit.
The statute of limitations is up. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, and was there any history of drug usage or substance abuse on either side of the family?
Unbeknownst to me, I didn't.
So you didn't. So
I didn't know my other side of the family though. I didn't know like my pop's side.
Okay. So you wouldn't know if that's what it was. No. But on your mom's side, it wasn't like a history or, hey, we need to watch if he, does anything.
Not that I can tell.
Got you.
Everybody was square. Like.
Got you. So now, and I'm assuming towards the end of high school, is this when you're starting to really fuck with the hip hop shit too?
Mm-hmm.
So now you're starting to pick up the pen and pad.
Definitely. I wrote my first rhyme in '91.
Okay.
I was heavily influenced by Tribe. A lot of East Coast stuff.
Oh, so you're listening to a lot of East Coast stuff on the West Coast. So you're heavily influenced by East Coast stuff.
But I mean, I never really gave up my roots in regards to the West Coast shit. Like,
right, no, definitely.
Blood of Law, DOC. I always thought MC Ren was underrated.
He was. I'd be thinking MC Ren was underrated too.
Hella underrated.
I'm like one of the only people who ever says that. Yeah. Okay.
Toddy T, Rodney O, Joe Cooley, all that.
So you definitely dabble in both. I just think that it's interesting, a West Coast cat that can tell you, what I'm saying, about different street affiliations and busting scams, could also tell you about some graffiti and some Tribe Called Quest. Like, I'm saying, I think it's a good balance of what
That's what I'm about, balance.
Yeah, definitely. So now talk me to the point where the drug usage becomes a thing? Like, is it partying? Is it escape? Is it a conduit to escapism? When does it become an issue? And what is the issue that you're doing?
Let me see. Around, I would say 94, something like that, when I really started getting into writing rhymes more, and I linked up with my crew, which is called, ironically, Rehab Don't Help.
Hilarious.
That's where I did a lot of my experimentation with you know, the psychedelics and stuff like that. You know, we having 40 ounces for breakfast and shit, and, you know. But later on, as I continued in this quote unquote hip hop scene out here, a lot of cats like looked down on it, but we were like kind of like the Black Beastie Boys. We was always about
party animals.
Yeah.
Almost like kind of how Mac Dre was back in the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was more party. We're going to take some drugs. We're going to thizz. We're going to party.
But at the same time, we were on, we got to be dope, though.
Right.
You know
Got you. Right. These bars got to be. Right. So it's that artistic integrity, but it's.
Yeah.
We're artists like Jimi Hendrix. We're gonna get fucked up too,
exactly,
on our shit. So obviously that leads me to the next question. Did the drugs have an effect on your creativity? Like, would you take some shit and just say the most illest shit that you had done that you might not have if you were sober?
I can't lie. I mean, I wouldn't. See, that's the thing. I don't know if I would. It just seemed more enthusiastic.
You was coming with some shit when you was high.
Yeah, but who knows if I would have focused and buckled down and did it
when you were sober. Exactly.
Things are, see, drug addiction has a lot to do with delusion. You know what I mean? And we might marvel off some shit that's just been here since the beginning of time. It's only new to us.
Alcohol is the same way. That's what I suffer from. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and that's the thing. I be thinking that I was just the coolest mofo when I was drunk, or I was the most skillful writer. But I was like, no, I wasn't. I was half drunk off my ass writing some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely a fact. So now you're early 20s. So we get through high school. So in your teenage years, were there any jail stints at all in your teens?
No, well, I mean, as a child, I was sent away to a controlled environment. That was my first taste of it. That was around in the 80s.
You say controlled environment, is that jailed or?
No, it's not. It was a behavioral modification type of joint, but
gotcha.
It was more so like a rehab, but there were different age groups there. Like they had kids there, and then on the other side of the wall, you had your teenagers, like a couple of actors.
Okay,
you know,
got you.
Rehab type.
Trying
type
to
of spot.
Fix the issues that they
it
have.
wasn't like just straight up like YA and no shit.
Got you. So now, was this because of the trouble you were making, or because of the drug usage?
The behavioral problems prior to the drug.
Okay, got you. Okay, so now we're in our 20s. Okay, so now walk me through our 20s. Now, is this when, now I know you're fucking with some psychedelics, you're fucking with some weed, you like to drink a 40 ounce for breakfast. That's what I'm picking up of what you're putting down. When is it start to be more past these shrooms and maybe this acid, and now it's like, I'm trying some coke.
Hard shit?
Yeah, some hard shit.
I would say around like early 30s.
Early 30s. Okay, so the 20s you just make it through just...
Yeah,
is it becoming problematic in your life in your 20s, your drug usage?
Now that I look back, it was.
Okay, and
I didn't think it saw it at the time.
So it still feels recreational. It still feels fun.
The delusion.
You know what I'm saying? The delusion of whatever life is. It's not putting you in jail. Now, did you go to jail in your 20s?
I did, but it was never for
It had nothing to do with drugs.
It's
It's just some other street shit that you had going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might have had some mistakes that you might have made in your life, but it didn't have anything to do with drugs. You just like to get loaded when you like to get loaded. Right. That's what my 20s look like.
Yeah,
so it looks like...
And we rap all night.
Right, and so you're doing music. Great artist, putting out some dope shit. I've heard some of his music. It's fire. Make sure you guys go check it out.
Appreciate
Definitely some fire shit. So... It sounds like, outside of some behavioral issues that you had, outside of some, some street activity that you had, you know what I'm saying? Outside of those things, your drug career doesn't seem too problematic from up until your 30s. Mm-hmm. Now, as the 30s, where do we go and how do we get there?
Well, let's see. With my homies that I was kicking it with, like I said, we tried different things. We was getting into getting wet. That's PCP for those who don't know.
Okay.
And
that's were you smoking it or?
Yeah, we was smoking it, man. We was smoking sticks.
And that can take you on some pretty crazy trips, no?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely can. You know, coke occasionally. You know, around this time, and then later on, I got on crystal meth real tough.
Okay. So this is all in the 30s, in like the first couple of years of your 30s.
Late 30s. Yeah.
Okay. So now we on some shit
Yeah,
now.
but it's masked in a creative niche though.
So you're still with this
Doing
shit.
music,
The
and we
creativity's still there.
Yeah, it's
It's
still
just the drugs are getting harder, but the content is still
Right.
still there.
there. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Then now it's hard to bring to awareness the unmanageability now because it's masked.
I mean, from how you're explaining this to me, it's hard to feel like it would be a reason to say you need to stop. I know that sounds wild, but it's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
okay, I get that you made a couple mistakes. You ended up, locked up, but that had nothing to do with the drugs. You're getting high, you're getting loaded, but you're making great music, great art,
Yeah.
tagging some shit in the graffiti, and your life's not going off the rails. So then what made it like, I'm thinking like, was there a DUI? Were there any negative consequences?
I didn't catch I caught a sales case around, let me see, I believe it was late 30s.
Okay, but
and that was selling crack to get other drugs.
okay, so
I would, but the delusion part, I would look down on people who smoke straight crack, but then I would be cool with what I did. I thought I was better just because
you had
I
that
wasn't.
judgment of them, like I don't do
Yeah,
that.
at least I'm not like that. At least I ain't pushing the basket and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I got my shit together.
Exactly.
So then, what was the final straw that made you come to the conclusion, like? And I mean, I know you're smoking crystal meth.
You're a nudge from the judge for me.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you get into some trouble.
I got into some trouble. So when I had caught that sales case, because I had been selling crack all that day, and my kid's mother, I got two sons. I got about 5 kids, but my 2 sons, my teenagers, me and their mother did the most. So we was like kind of Bonnie and Clyde-ish, with a side of Bobby and Whitney.
I'm sorry. That's hilarious.
If you can follow that.
Right. And for what
You know?
I know exactly what you mean. Like,
Right.
Okay, got you.
So, I would do my strong arm stealing, selling, and then she would have her hustles and shit.
Right.
The crash is different for a female. You know what I'm saying? In a male, we take more penitentiary chances.
Right.
So I ended up catching a sales case to a informant, snitch, and I sold him some hard is called crack. Sold him some crack, and later, as soon as I was walking away from that sales, it was Vice Night, and some unmarks rolled up on me with a Xerox copy of the 2 $10 bills that he had gave me.
Damn.
And then they gave me a transport.
Okay.
Now, prior to that sales, there was another sales had passed me for less money, and I shunned her off. She was like, "Okay, Slim, be careful. It's Vice Night." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And sure enough, I got cracked, and that case sent me upstate.
Was this your first sales case?
This was my first sales case.
And then they sent you upstate, and so
I had took a joint suspension for some other shit prior to that.
Okay, so you had a lot of legal things going on at this point.
A lot of legal things.
And so now the judge is looking at you. Now, are you heavy into drugs at this point? Like, are you smoking every day?
I'm smoking every day.
Because you sound like a very functional
you wouldn't be able
addict.
to tell with my
Like,
shit, man.
And was meth the heaviest thing that you did? Did you ever try the crack? Did that ever come into a play?
I mean, I smoked a couple of P dogs shit here and there, but that wasn't my thing.
It just wasn't.
I didn't do any needles and nothing like that.
Okay, so meth was probably the top of the food chain of where you went with things. So now you're standing in front of the judge. This is late 30s. You're no career criminal, but you've had a few head butts with the law.
So but I mean, my law shit had caught up to me, and he was like, "Nah, we talking state time now." Because, like I said, I took a joint suspension prior to catching that sales case, but I took a joint suspension on a burglary case. It was like stealing some shit, and then I fought the case, and they dangled the joint suspension. It was like, we're going to give you 3 years, and we're going to set it aside, and let you out today. But if you mess up, you get into 3 years. Like, shoot
Okay.
it. I've
And
been
so,
in-
was there some stipulations that came along with that?
yeah, you sneeze too loud, you jail anything. We give
And
you
they're going to be
3
drug testing you. I'm
No,
assuming.
I wasn't on probation and nothing.
Okay.
It was just a condition of the
That was a
court.
condition to let you off. Okay, so and this is the catalyst for you to get off drugs.
No, that
Okay,
was just
my bad. So
I
this is-
continued my using all through that.
Okay, so you keep using through all
Yeah.
that. Okay, now take me to the moment where you to yourself say, I have to stop fucking with this shit. It's gonna ruin my
Okay,
life.
so
Or the
I
situation.
went upstate and did the whole 2 years and got out and was back in the streets on parole, still getting high and stuff like that. And then I caught a robbery with a prior at this place called this grocery store called Numero Uno's on Vernon in Vermont. I was squatting in this house at the time, and I had been stealing to meet my connect, and my connect was like this, hard working piece of dude. Shit didn't do no. He just had the shit, So I was caught up in the mix on the bullshit, but I ended up catching another case, right? So, boom, that's a parole violation. Amidst that violation, they asked me, do you think you have a problem with drugs? Because it says here in the report that your fucking eyes was bugged all out your head and shit, and you put on a big old show when they tried to catch you in the store for stealing. You fighting the security guards, and you seem very,
Right.
yeah.
Let me okay. Hold that thought for 2 seconds, because I want to talk about something that you said that was very, very important a couple minutes ago. You're talking about delusion.
Yeah.
I do feel like everything must have fallen off the rails if, like you said, you're squatting in the house, you're doing all these other things, but the delusion of it to think about it like it wasn't even that big of a
I'm
deal.
all right. I'm all right.
Yeah, like, I'm cool. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, because I'm assuming, like, you know what I'm saying, you weren't used to being a squatter in the house or different things.
No,
like,
I
but at
just-
this point, it's just thinking that I'm doing what I got to do to get my shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, the addiction is progressive. You never see it coming until you are in it.
Right.
It's cunning and baffling. So
Right.
it grows like a fungus over the years. You understand? Which everything that comes along with getting the next substance, the behaviors, the degradation.
Right.
I'm
going to do whatever I need to do to get what
you
I got to get.
Powerless up under this next substance, next hit.
Somebody told me, they said that addiction is a good slave, but one hell of a master. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it
Exactly.
really puts that shit. So
Yeah.
it had grown for you over the course of 20, 25 years, just a progression of a snowball effect of this addiction getting bigger,
Yeah.
but not even seeming like it's a huge deal, because it's like everything hasn't completely gone to shit. You know what I'm saying? But then at this point,
Well, I mean, when I first got clean and got an understanding of the disease of addiction, I was, before I became educated, I was blaming the substance. Like, oh man, I just can't do
this or this, right?
Yeah, but as I look further deep into it, it stems all the way further back. So I mean, I was on that one substance for about a good 10, 11 years.
Which one is that? You talk about the
the
big dog.
Scante,
Yeah, the big boy.
Yeah.
So then take me to, so life is spun out of control. You're squatting in a place. You're doing whatever you got to do to feed this
Right.
this monkey you got on your back.
Right.
And so they ask you, do you feel like you have a drug problem? And now, is this the first time you kind of confront yourself about it? Like, do I have a problem, or is it just like a means?
I mean, it wasn't the first time, because once again, I was real like, in me and my kid's mother relationship had turned into a hostage situation.
Okay.
You understand? Because once addiction came into place, that's our main thing. So how do we know how to love each other? How do we know to love ourselves if we're powerless
To
under
this
this
thing.
behavior? Yeah.
That's crazy you say that. I just recently said that something similar to myself, because I'm at a space now where I'm single, and like, I've always been in some level of a relationship, and I've been running to try to just, in my mind, I was just trying to run and hurry up and get back in another relationship. But something was like, once I made that decision to stop drinking, I was like, how you expect to be able to love a woman the right way or do things the right way if you can't even release yourself from under this addiction.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I
Exactly.
wasn't doing it for a woman or just to even be with them, but I just said to myself, like, how could I even find true love
Yeah, well,
if I'm
I mean,
under this
the
thing?
feeling we get high off of different things that don't even have to do with drugs or alcohol. We can get high off of acceptance.
Yeah.
We can get high off of getting over, manipulation, all
Attention.
attention.
All types of different stuff.
Yeah.
Like, especially like with social media, you get high off the likes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
It
it's
releases some endorphins, some dopamine in you.
Oh yeah, it's
that-
definitely a real thing. I remember the second time I had been to rehab, I had seen people in there. People were in rehab for social media.
Wow.
Couldn't believe it. It was a crazy thing. Okay, so take me so now, like we said, life is pretty,
Yeah.
questionable at best. You got this form in front of you. Do you have a drug problem? You've said to yourself, yeah, I might.
Well, my crazy ass, I was so in denial, I asked for a week to think about it.
Wow.
It was like, okay, motherfucker, it's either, check this out, we're going to have you walk this 5 off upstate.
Woo!
Because you got a
It's
prison
a long
prior,
walk.
or you can take the program. I asked for a week to think.
And you still needed a week to think about it? Is that not denial?
Because the addiction is self-sabotaging mentally. Anything that we can't see as an addict, anything we can't see the finish line of, we automatically put the defenses up.
It's a fact.
So we're comfortable with what we're comfortable with. I know I can go upstate and, I'm going to be on Fish Draw and then get my packages. Then I'm
For
start
5
doing my portraits and
years,
shit.
right.
Boom, hustle, give me a TV, blah, 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 all that.
So you actually thought in your addictive mind that it might make more sense
Exactly.
to give them 5 than whatever this sober shit gonna look like.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That is such a like. Is that just me or is that like
No, that's the disease of addiction. The disease of addiction is centered in the way that we think.
But that's a hell of an addiction. That's a hell of a disease.
Or the alcohol is the only part you can see of addiction.
Right.
That's the only.
That's
part
just
you
the
can see.
physical manifestation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you actually giving it some thought. Like, I might
Yeah.
just need to sit down. My girl gonna hold
Yeah.
me down, put some money on my books. I can survive this. I'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
But okay, so walk me through what's going on through this week. Are you still getting high this week?
Well, no, I'm already in jail.
Oh, so you're in jail?
Yeah.
Locked up.
When I caught the
Got you.
when I caught the sales case, my PO, my parole officer at the time, she had came and visited me. It was other people at the house that were on parole.
Okay.
And when I caught the case, my parole officer was like, I only knew it was a matter of time. We all parole officers know that house. Other officers have clients there.
Got it.
So I knew, Mr. Hendrickson, it was going to be a matter of time.
For you in there.
Yeah. You seem solid. I like your artwork, but I'm giving you a year.
Wow.
So
So then now you make the decision and say what? So that's where the light goes off. Like, hey, so during this week, so you're in jail.
I'm in jail,
and you're thinking about what I'm gonna do.
I'm thinking about it. I'm asking other cats in the dorm and the tanks about the program that they offer me, and fools are saying like good shit about it. It's like, yeah, man, gonna take you to another dorm in medium south. Ain't gonna be no politics, and it's a program, and all you gotta do is 18 months in. You do what was it? 6 months, and then they send you to a sober living.
Sober living.
No questions asked. You boom, 6 months, send you to the sober living. No,
Okay.
they said 90 days, and they send you to a sober living. Now, I didn't understand that shit didn't apply for me. My PO gave me 1 year.
So you got this year to walk off.
So
You're
fuck
not
that
going
90
nowhere.
days.
Yeah. So okay.
So-
But you still say I'm gonna take this year, but then I'm gonna do this program.
Well, I didn't have no choice but to take the year. That was a parole violation. But yes,
Right, got you.
mid-stride, I ended up accepting the program.
So you accept the program. Now walk me through when you first got there. Like I said, it's easy to kind of have that addiction arrogance. I'm not like these
You're right.
mofos. Like you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
That's
I
where
do
I
my own
came in
thing.
with.
Like I smoke to get high. You motherfucker, you get high to get run away from your problems.
Exactly.
Weirdo.
There's a lot of self-entitlement. When
Right.
when they moved me from East Max in Wayside, which was rocking and rolling, they moved me to Medium South, which is where all of the program dorms are. You got the domestic violence dorm, you got the veterans dorm, you got the school dorm, and you got the drug impact dorm.
Got
That's
it.
what dorm I was in. When you walk in that dorm, they clap for you, like, you made it, man. We glad you made it. I thought that was like cheesy,
Right? Like, what are these motherfuckers clapping for?
You know,
right?
and no politics, no racial politics.
So you ain't got to worry about the stuff that comes along with jail and all that other
well,
shit.
I mean, we still in jail because a fucking riot did still crack on that yard while I was in there. Not in our dorm.
Got it. But for the most part, you don't have to focus on, because it's a different type of mind state you need to be in.
You don't have to focus on crossing bunks and
all that other shit. You're with a bunch of motherfuckers who trying to get clean and stay clean.
Exactly.
And you're here for 18 months?
Well, the program is 90 days in there.
And then you go to the sober living.
And then you go to sober living.
So walk me through those 90 days. Does your mind start to change? Do the wheels start going a little bit different? Like, maybe I do have a problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, at first I came in judging, like, man, you fools is hiding out in here. It's nothing but snitches in here.
Scary ass motherfuckers.
Exactly.
Right.
So, you can get booked in that dorm. When I say booked, you can get reprimanded, get in trouble for little small things. Like, say they would do the linen exchange, and if you kept like an extra pair of socks,
that's your ass.
If you, extra jumpsuit or something like that, extra lunch, they'll threaten to send you back to general population. You can take the time they held over your head to get in here.
Now you got to take that time?
You mess around and have to take the time. It's up to the judge, depending on the report that your counselor.
So you better walk it right in this place.
But now,
and did this go into why you were thinking about it too? Like, I don't want to go to some place that might I sneeze wrong and then I get this time and shit.
Well, yeah. Right. But see, now that I look back on it and I'm a little bit more educated about the disease of addiction, it's like you need to break down to your lowest compound. You in this dorm for a reason, and it's the small behaviors. Like, you trying to get an extra thing, that's getting over. That's a disease of addiction. You trying to do this and get around and dip and dive and have all that is getting confronted up in here. We trying to change all that, or at least just make you aware.
A total rewiring of our mind.
Exactly.
So this is what's going on for you in this 90 days. You're actually starting to have a renaissance in your mind, and you're looking at things different.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still gelling though.
Right.
And it's still fuckery going on but like certain fools will try to push politics still, and whoop-de-whoop told on him and this and that, and he did this, and we got to get down in the back and all that. Where you from and all that's still there.
That still exists.
But the ultimate precedence of why we are here is to learn more about the disease of addiction.
Got it.
Yeah.
So now you do the 90 days. Now I know, and I'm sorry if my timelines are terrible. So you initially your PO had gave you the year, but you take the program, so you do 90 days. Is it 90 days of the year, or do you still have to do the whole year?
I still had to do the whole year.
So you do the whole year.
Yeah, I didn't get offered the program until 6 months into my violation.
And so then you do 90 days of it, and then
90 days, and I'm seeing everybody get out and go to the sober living. See, at the sober living, and then I'm like, damn, it's been 90. Oh, because I'm in here on a parole
another 90
violation.
days, and then so then after that, then you go to the sober living.
Then I go to the sober living.
So I'm assuming, so now after you go through the program, you're looking different, and like, is it in your mind that I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life? I think that's a good idea.
No, we don't. Well, I was taught not to look at it for the rest of the life. We just do it one day at a time, just trying to get through the day without using it. And, a lot can happen in a day. So at the end of the day, we take daily inventories of, okay, I was wrong on that. Okay, this and that. This is what I need to address. Also, they have a board called H&I. It's called Hospitals and Institutions.
Okay.
Where a lot of speakers will come into the dorm, into the facility, and share their experience, strengths, and hope. So I learned a lot in the dorm because I had my counselor, my immediate counselor, was this big old fool from Compton.
Okay.
Like 20-something years clean, ex-bank robber, did a gang up there time. And he would come in the dorm like, good morning, crackhead motherfuckers. Listen, you here for a reason, motherfucker. Luck is in Vegas, and
right.
And he would trip on the weirdest shit. Like I had one of my hustles when I used to go to jail was doing portraits. Not a lot of artists in the black car like that. So when I do my portraits and stuff, fools line up. I had clients next door to dorm over, and get
the hustle going on.
He was like, if I see you draw one more fucking portrait, I'm sending you back to general population. You could take your time. You're not in here to be an artist and shit and rap and all that shit.
Damn.
We in here to address the disease of addiction, Period. Now, had it have been like some textbook soft ass approach, I don't think I would have. I don't think that resonated with me.
Right, hit you
His
like
whole
maybe
style.
it's time to focus.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And his whole get down was like, pause, no homo, but attractive to me.
Right.
All this time he had clean and coming from where he came from, and he still got his swag about him and shit. I'm like,
Right.
That's
I could
yeah.
rock with that. So
Right.
so it resonated with you.
Yeah.
Right. So then how long did you spend in the sober living facility?
Okay, so I got out of jail finally, and
Right.
they moved me to the sober living joint. I seen a lot of the cats that I was already in jail.
Locked
I
up
just
with.
left them in,
They staying clean,
Yes.
getting jobs and whatnot.
Exactly.
Okay.
Some of them,
All right.
But say like when I got into the dorm in jail, I got a shadow, a person that was already up in there
Okay.
to show me the ropes. Same thing with sober living. Got in there, I had to stick with a cat whole week, go everywhere with him. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Show you the ropes.
Exactly.
Got it.
So, we living in the same house, and we doing groups and shit at this office downtown, So I'm getting acclimated, going to actual NA meetings.
Right, and you're just hearing the different stories. It's
Exactly.
really starting to resonate with you, and just you're starting to just kind of live different and kind of move different, and adapt different
Until
philosophies.
I started seeing the girls in the meetings.
Maybe, yeah, I be going to meetings too,
Right.
man. 'Cause, yeah.
So when I'm coming out from doing all this jail time, I'm like, so I get with a female at the meeting and stuff, and we doing our things. We still going to meetings. She's serious about her.
Don't tell me you relapse.
I did. I relapsed.
She had you bite the apple.
Well, no, it wasn't really her. It was a trip, man, because after the sober living, they moved me to what is called a SRO, a single room occupancy, and this is in the Skid Row area of downtown Los Angeles. And
Okay.
it was my own room, and I had a key, no curfew, a lot of freedom. All I had
They
to do
gave you your
was
own
just-
apartment, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so you meet this young lady at a meeting, and y'all bonding, of course, over the throes of addiction. And
Yeah, that was there. But see, the trip thing about the SRO is that when I caught my sales case, my kid's mother was with me. They sent her to a program.
okay,
So
so she didn't have to do no time.
she didn't have to do no time because she just got a possession. I got the straight up sales.
Yeah,
You know
got
what
you.
I'm saying? So with the sales, that exempted me from going to the program. So she went through the same program I went through that I'm in now.
Got you.
So she was living across the hall from me in the SRO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So and this was your so this is the lady that you ended up linking up with.
No,
This is your
my
kid's mother.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got you. Okay, so then now, so are you guys still?
Sorry to take you. It's
No, it's
many
all good.
facets of the
Yeah, I'm
story,
like,
though.
I'm trying to put it all together. So was she staying across from you before or after the relapse with
She
Shorty?
was staying across from me before the relapse. When I first got there, she was already staying.
So she's already staying there. And you
now,
guys,
the female that I was going to the meetings with is going to come in later in the story. I'm going to show you how that works.
got you. So the Bonnie to your Clyde is across the hall from you. You guys are just like, man, we both clean. You guys are living productive lives. Huh?
She was just kind of on her own shit.
Okay.
Like, we got 2 boys to raise, 2 young men to raise. Focus on you, get your shit right, and be some type of fucking example for them.
So Willie wasn't on some, oh, we love each other, we're back in the mix. It's more like, hey, we're going to co-parent and do this shit.
Yeah,
I'm still over here fixing my shit, you fix
By
yours.
that time, she was already acclimated to that program, and she was.
She had a
already,
head start.
She,
She
got
got there.
a better
She
understanding
went right there.
of the disease of addiction than me at the time. I'm still trying to shuck and.
You still a newborn in this.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, so does she leave the program prior to you leaving? Because she had been there before
Well,
you.
The SRO thing is a program that hooks people up with Section 8 vouchers.
Okay.
So she ended up getting her voucher and moving out.
So she leaves.
Uh-huh.
So
And-
she's no longer across the hall, but you guys aren't dating anyway.
No.
Okay, so
No,
now
we kick it. She
Yeah,
break
gotcha.
me off to get
Yeah,
out.
gotcha.
Yeah, but she's like, all right, homie. Like,
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
On
So-
with her life.
Dealing with other cats in the building who were in the program. They were one in particular was this cat I used to build with. I walked into his room one night, into his unit, and he was smoking a blunt. I'm like, wait a minute, how are you doing that when they test us every other day in this program again? Oh, this don't show up in the test. I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's spice.
Can you explain to the people at home what spice is? And by the people at home, I mean me. What is spice really? Like, is it
Spice
just a
is
synthetic weed?
It's a synthetic weed, and it's way more toxic than actual, THC. There's no THC in it. It's just kind of like, synthetic.
And it gets through the test. So
It
now
gets through the test.
you've gone through a year being locked up clean, didn't get to do nothing, went through a 90-day program while in jail,
Yeah.
came home did some time in the sober living, graduated to the SRO with all the good knowledge that you've had over this
Knowing damn
time
well.
period.
Yeah.
And now
still,
somebody
yeah.
introduces you to a loophole, and now that addict mind is starting to think like, oh, motherfucker.
Exactly.
We could be back.
Yeah.
Because you don't really think you got a problem.
No.
Still, you just stopping
I mean,
because...
Mind you, I didn't came up on some things. I'm back making beats. I had a laptop in my room.
So you're back to your
and
creative
it's cool.
shit?
Yeah, I'm good. Got my key, but rent ain't nothing but $50-something a month. I'm on the what?
I'm living.
Yeah, I'm
This
good.
is the best time
on
of my
Skid
life.
Row, but
Right.
yeah, hey.
Right.
So, smoked the spice. First
So
thing
it didn't take long for you to just
did not take
hand me
long.
that. It won't show up. Give this to me.
See, the thing about it is that when you get clean, you don't know how things have resonated with you until you are tested.
Mm-hmm.
And that relapse just showed me how powerful the disease of addiction is.
So did it bring you back into the pool?
Well, as soon as I smoked it, I started thinking like, bro, I'm on two people, different paperwork. I'm on parole, probation, court ordered to a program. One dirty test, I'm going to do 30 days in the real jail for sure. So I smoked the shit up all night, stressing like, goddamn, I got to go to group in the morning, meet with my counselor on. I can't look nobody in the eye and shit.
Before you even get to that part, did it get you like super duper high because you ain't done shit in a whole year?
It did.
So you probably super up, gurped out
Tripping.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And that shit gets you dumbass high,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
a different kind of high, even if you would have been smoking every day.
Right. It is.
So you high as a motherfucker, staying up. Now you paranoid.
Tripping,
You passed
yep.
the test?
I passed the test.
See, look at God.
Which really no, because that let the
That's what
beast
you
up.
thinking.
That's what I'm thinking.
You thinking, look at God.
Like,
I made
I'm
it.
good. Yeah.
Okay. But-
Spice every day from now.
So
boom,
now you
boom,
back.
Like, yep.
We back litty.
Yeah.
So when they're testing you, they're not testing you for alcohol, are they?
They're not testing us.
So they
for
just
alcohol.
test you for the hard shit, the drugs, the weed, whatever.
Right.
But they're not catching this spice shit.
No.
And you smoking it every day.
I'm smoking every day, and here's a girl that I'm going to the meeting with. She came back.
Mm-hmm.
I get so comfortable as to smoke it in front of her.
She wasn't smoking it before you.
No, she
So
was
you had
like,
her bite the apple.
No, she was like, "That's what the fuck." Okay, she was so far along in her recovery to where she was like, "Oh yeah, he's still getting the grips of the disease."
Right. So she looks at you like
Oh,
you're not really
like
there
oh,
yet.
all right. She continues on, and
But you guys still deal with each other.
we still deal with each other. But she is like aware, like,
Oh, he's still on
be a
his shit.
threat to my recovery.
Ooh, and you
know
got to
what I
be careful with that.
mean? Yeah, I don't realize. I'm just like, yeah.
It
I'm
ain't
up.
nothing. They're
Yeah.
not gonna test me.
Right. She's
I'm
like,
no
nah.
druggie.
She's like, bro, you worried about them sending you to jail. I'm worried about saving my fucking life.
So she's serious about this shit. She's
Yeah.
not fucking around.
Exactly.
And did she kind of like lay it out to you like that? Like, look, I like
She
you.
didn't say it off at first. She didn't
You
say
just
it at
could kind of
first.
pick up on her vibe. Like,
Yeah.
she
Mhm.
has
I
some
know she has
concerns.
talked to someone about it.
Okay.
Now that I look back on it.
Now, and so you said that you and her ended up relapsing together. So walk me.
No,
so you guys didn't.
No.
You never smoked with her. Okay.
No,
So you're
she-
just dealing with her, but you're relapsing. Okay.
Yeah.
And so did this eventually fuck it up with her? And she had to cut it off.
What happened was that she ended up having to have a surgery on her breast, where she was really looking for support from me, and I just went flatline on her. Now, mind you, this girl done brought me a laptop and takes me to all the meetings and meet me at meetings and food and all the da-da-da.
And you wasn't
And I
there
just
for
went
her.
flatline. She
Was
like,
it?
Oh, like that? She was like, oh, that's how you
That's
gonna
how you
do
moving?
me? Let me call the counselor at the program real quick. Yeah, he's
No, she ain't
smoking.
tell on you.
Yeah.
I thought she was just gonna say she didn't want to fuck with you no more.
And that.
So just because you wasn't there for her in a time of need, so it wasn't even like a cheating thing. It was just like, see, It seems like your sobriety was brought on by some of the most interesting factors. So the first time it's the judge, and so now she calls to say this is what he's doing.
Yeah. Now,
no,
mind you, in order to get on into this program that I'm in, you have to take some time, and they set it aside, meaning that even if you are innocent, they could do whatever the fuck they want to with you. You are out contingent on how you doing this program.
Right.
She got the call she called the counselors. They all took me in the office, all 6 of them. It was like, yeah, it's whoop-de-whoop. Because she graduated from the day. Everybody know that we kind of chilling together
with each other.
Yeah. So like, yeah, she's saying you smoke spice and this and that. Now, I put up a little weak ass lie, like tried to get offended, like, man, I'm worried about my recovery and y'all come at me with this shit.
Spice shit. What is this spice?
You know goddamn
spice
well
is.
what the fuck you doing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, matter of fact, even if you did it or not, we gonna send you in jail. How about that?
So they didn't even prove that you did it.
Nah.
And they just took her word for it. They'll have no fury like a woman's.
So,
do you think? Quick question. Do you think she did it because she was mad because you weren't there for her,
exactly,
or do you think she did it because she really wanted you to get sober?
That's really what I had a whole 30 days to think about.
You got to just be like, was she that mad? So they hit you with the Mando 30.
The Mando 30,
okay.
General population. But later on, I was able to talk to my sponsor at the time, and he was like, look, it starts with you and ends with you, period. Had you have not been put in that situation,
it's all about you.
It don't matter what she.
It doesn't matter about her intentions,
exactly.
And that's that ownership of it. So now you do this 30 days. Do you have the option of doing the drug stuff when you come out this time, or is it now taken off the table?
No, they still allow me to. It was called a sanction when they give you 30 days.
So it's like a reprimand.
Yeah, and the
much.
judge tells you to write a 500-word essay, like what happened, what am I going to do not to prevent it from happening again. You know,
okay. So now where's your mind at this time? Are you writing this letter like, you know what, I really do have a problem, let me chill out? Or is it, man, let me just figure this out so I can get back out and smoke spice again?
Yeah, pretty much that.
So you're still in the addictive mind state?
Yeah, I'm looking in the NA book and copying shit on the, you know what I'm saying?
So you still haven't, it still hasn't clicked?
No.
Okay, so then now you get the SRO building back.
Yeah, I get to keep my little spot.
So you come back home, but you're still smoking that spice.
Yeah.
The power of spice compels you.
Yeah, I'm still at it, and you know, I'm also buzzing off the fact that they think I learned my lesson all around the office.
And you did, and you said you're drinking now too.
Yeah.
So now you're starting to
drinking because they you know, you can't detect the
they're not testing for alcohol.
No.
So they're checking for the hard shit. So now you're getting drunk. Is it a lot of drinking, like bottle a night hard liquor, or you just drinking some beer?
Here and there, a couple of beers and shit. And then I got in another relationship with this girl who was a heavy drinker as well and shit. And you know, her thing was pills. That was never my
prescription
thing.
Pills.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but she would come mess with me on her little, you know, night escapades. And shit,
right.
She, by day a mother and all that shit, but then I'm down here.
She wants some wine and pills.
Yeah.
I know the type. Yeah. So you're living your life. Everything's good. You're back doing your music. You're doing your graffiti. You're living your artistic life. You're living in this place. You're still smoking on the low, and you're still drinking. So what is the catalyst for change and to stop this for real? And now it's serious.
My second sanction. Because I got
so
caught
you messed
again.
up again?
Yeah, I messed up again.
Did somebody tell on you this time?
No, she swerved up to the office drunk looking for me.
So it doesn't seem like the addiction was the problem ever. It seems like the women. No. So first time somebody told on you, and this time
a big old trick.
She swerved up. You're fine. So
when I got caught again the second time, she had showed up to my SRO early in the day, big old thing of parrot vodka and shit. So I'm like, yo, I got to go.
Parrot vodka?
Parrot
vodka, got you.
So I'm like, yo, I need to go show my face to these counselors, do this goddamn group, and then we can rock. So let me hit that right quick. Boom. Went to the office. She couldn't sit still in the spot. Came swerved to the office. Is so-and-so in there? Drunk, hit the curb. Now these counselors is outside. Their antennas went up immediately. Like, oh, what? Blowing it is.
Don't tell me you blew the .08.
Another sanction, yeah, 30 days.
Another 30 days?
This time with the option, now they pushing for me to get the 5.
The 5 years that you thought was dead and gone?
Right, now they pushing for that.
See, that's how I feel like they get us sometimes. You sitting here thinking you live your best life. You make a few minor hiccups, but that 5 is still hanging over your head the whole time?
Yeah.
They're supposed to let go of that.
Well, upon completion, they do let go of it.
Okay, so now you got to do this 30, and this 5 might be in the play.
And it's possible that I might be just like getting kicked out the program.
So now it's like, we're done with you at this program. We may give you 5 years. We're done with you right now.
That's what the counselors are pushing for, but it's up to the judge whether to keep me or not.
And so does this judge show you leniency?
I have an auntie that works in the legal field and knew the judge before he was a judge.
Now, won't God do it for real?
Right,
that's one of them.
That was one, yeah.
I mean, because of all the people, to all the aunties, to all the people. So she just said, listen, I need you to look out for my nephew.
Exactly. I mean, my auntie is just like, every time I would go to jail, she would know what the case is, who my public defender. Oh, I just seen him the other day, and my public defender is this. Oh, yeah, he's downstairs right now.
So she has him look out, but I'm pretty sure he's like, I'm going to do this, but don't fuck around.
Exactly.
You got to know at this point, if you don't stop, you're going to get 5 years.
He told me that. He was like, look, man, I've been knowing,
such and such
for a long time, but the next time
I don't have a choice.
I'm giving you 5 years in the penitentiary period.
No, we're not even going to talk.
Yeah.
This is your last
you
opportunity. You're robbing me of the opportunity to help you. Exactly. Now go do these 30 days and get the hell out of my courtroom.
Yeah.
So you go get the 30 days. Do they let you back into the program last time?
They did let me in the program, but I didn't keep the SRO this time.
You didn't keep the SRO, but you're back in the program.
But I'm back in the program.
But at this
the
point,
counselors hate it. They hate it.
So, well, I mean, you had been smoking a lot of spice.
Like,
you can't really be mad at them. So, but at some point, does this last 30 days in custody, does it click now?
Definitely.
Like, I'm fucking around. I'm fucking up.
The girl I was fucking with attempted to come visit me, and
the same one that drove up there drunk?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because she like, hey, I'm serious this time.
I'm not fucking around.
Rap.
I'm not coming home and smoking spice.
I'm telling you now, if you get down and shit, when I get out, I'm
not fucking with you.
My counselor is in the dorm. He's like, oh, you think you Casanova motherfucker? You can't get no pussy and just fucking leave you. You had to come fuck your program up. Clowning me in front of the whole time.
This is the same guy you're talking about, the big buff guy? Yeah. He's still on that same shit.
On that shit, yeah.
Right.
He was like, everybody look at this motherfucker. He's, disease of addiction, anything from pussy to bubble gum and how you fucked up. This is a prime example, right?
Wow. And so now somebody that you respected in a sense, now it's really hitting you.
Yeah, he gave me a job. He was like, listen, I want to hear nothing from you your whole 30 days. I want you to just shadow the new motherfuckers and tell them what your experience. Damn. He was like, you need to shadow somebody a different person a week. Tell them how it is. You was going to groups, meetings out there, and then you've been telling me your whole story.
Wow. So then now you're taking sobriety seriously.
Very seriously.
It took the threat of 5 years, but then it just lets you know, I'm better without this in my life.
Yeah. Well, it's
taking everything from me.
An awareness of the power of a disease of addiction, and I just started studying different facets of it and stuff like that.
Got you. And how long have you been sober currently?
I've been clean for 12 years.
12 years.
Yeah.
I'm just hitting 30 days. You know how long 12 years? But I'm pretty sure you can remember when you got 30 days, right?
I can remember when I got 30 days.
But 12 years. And so how have you sustained sobriety over the last 12 years? Like, what is it that keeps you clean 12 years later?
Well, I just focus on getting through the day.
You don't focus on the 12-year aspect of it. You focus on
just getting through the day.
The day that you're dealing with.
I go to meetings, although that's just my story, for anyone to get clean. Anyone can get clean however they get clean. But for me, what's been helping me is going to meetings and, having a sponsor and stuff like that and being of service. And
it matters.
Yeah.
With my story, like, I'm saying, I kind of was like you, I'm saying, I didn't even really get drunk until I turned 30. When I moved to LA, I'm from Sacramento originally. Okay. When I moved out here, I kind of just started drinking because I'm a comedian. Mm-hmm. It was kind of part of the culture. Then I got weight loss surgery in 2015. I had transfer of addiction to where now I'm no longer addicted to food. I'm addicted to drinking. So it became, a problem, and I ended up, in rehab twice, but I didn't really have nothing crazy, you know what I'm saying, have to happen, you know what I'm saying, for my life to, you know what I'm saying, make that.
Oh, man, my shit got wild. Like, it was nuts from the judge. My boys got adopted, grace of God, by their grandmother. And but yeah, my shit got hectic.
Nah, I'm saying that, yeah. So I mean, I can totally, you know what I'm saying, understand that, you know, that momentum. But you know what I'm saying. So, you know, with the, I understand about the getting sober part, but it's like now that I'm doing it. Now that I'm doing it again for this time, because I had 939 days sober, you know what I'm saying, and then I had, you know what I'm saying, fell off of it, you know, a couple years ago. So let me ask you this question. Like, did life seem different or boring after you got sober? Like, was it just like, this isn't as fun as it used to be when I used to get high? Like, did you ever have that issue?
No, I feel that going through that whole experience and leaning into this new crowd of people that can relate to me based on our addiction and behaviors that we're trying to address, a whole new circle of associates. It added to a more solid integrity within me, you know. So
got you.
When everything is just like, I feel I have more experience.
Got it.
And you know, I'm still humble, and I don't underestimate the disease of addiction at any time. I know the coast is not clear, at least for me.
Right.
Still get tempted, all that stuff.
So still 12 years later, you still get tempted.
Oh yeah, you never.
It never goes away.
It never goes away, because I mean, once you take the substance out of it, say like in your mind, when you take the substance away, it turns the light in the room up a little bit. And then you can see, okay, there's some clutter over there. There's some fucked up shit over there. I know there's something.
Something's up.
So, and then as you continue to get your spirit fed in the rooms of recovery, hearing different, in the process of recovery, the 12 steps, and the sponsor being of service, etc.
Right.
Then you gain more of an understanding
of what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's helping me this time around, you know what I'm saying, with sobriety, and, you know, like I said, going to the meetings and just, you know, I haven't gotten a sponsor yet, but that's something that I'm looking into, because I now look at it, if I could give it a metaphor, it's just like when people try to get in shape, they try to go on a diet real quick. I'm not trying to do diet sobriety. I'm trying to make it just like a way of my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like, I just don't live with this. Let me ask you this, though. So from what I understand now, not only do you practice a sober life? And before I even get to that question, are you 100% sober, or are you like California
clean,
sober?
I'm clean off of all mind altering substances.
Do you believe that it's just a case by case basis on the California sober thing? Like, do you feel like somebody could be smoking weed and still be sober, or is that?
I don't know. I just know for me, you
just don't touch none of it.
It's just for me.
Yeah, it just makes more sense for you. And then let me ask you this: not only do you practice a sober life in your personal life, but at this point now you help other people become sober and stay sober.
Yeah. Well, later on in the game, when I got my recovery in the rooms of recovery, I started meeting different people and started pulling my coattails into working in rehabs and working in treatment facilities. So I went from just, you know, like a monitor, like telling people to go to group, and then I went to school for a little bit, became a drug counselor. I did some substance abuse counseling at Tarzana Treatment Center, and I did that for about 2 years, and now I'm a caseworker in the Skid Row area.
Wow, so you actually help people.
I help people get into the places that I was at.
You help them get their SROs.
Right. Exactly.
Isn't that, and you know, like I think you personify what happens when the government tries to get it right. And what I mean by that is that, you know, they you know, my dad had told me an alarming fact, like that the biggest mental health institution be prisons and jails, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But you know what I'm saying, sometimes I feel like, you know, you clearly had an issue with some substances. It was taking you down a road and a path that wasn't necessarily helping. You were able to get into a program, and even though it took a couple of different times, it stuck. And not only did it stick, it put you in a position to where it could stick, it could change your life, and now you're being of service to countless others. And I think that that's just super dope, because I don't feel like the government is this covert operation that's always trying to make things ruin and bad for us. Like,
if you want to stop using, you're gonna stop using. Period. Right. At the end of the day, no one puts nothing in you. You have to pick. It's a process.
Right.
You rationalize it in your mind.
You put it in your mind,
and then you might, you know.
Right.
It's a process.
Nah, and I just think that that's just super dope. Like, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, your whole story, like you said, it's a long, windy story, like, you know what I'm saying, and you could look at different facets of it, but I'm glad that you were able to get to sobriety, however you got there. It doesn't matter. Like you said, once you get to the point, because at some point a light went off in your head and you said, you know what, this isn't what I'm doing today, and you know, 12 years later, you're still doing that. So I think that that's pretty phenomenal.
But see, the thing about it is the disease of addiction is so cunning and baffling that even clean time, motherfucker can get high off clean time. Now, when I say that,
yeah, explain that to me.
I mean that they get these accolades of getting every year clean. Now they think they can tell other motherfuckers what to do. They can judge other motherfuckers and shit. And you know, they might be a counselor, but they get that. That is a business deal. That is not your recovery. That's your job.
Right.
So it's really tricky because in these facilities, a machine is at work. Now, you someone who is not in full understanding of that, they can say that NA is the way or AA is the way, when really it's whatever the person.
Whatever works for whomever that individual is.
It's not our business to. I could just say my story. I keep saying that's the end all of our way to get clean. So the disease is still at work. Although,
so it could even be from based on what you're saying and what I can pull from it is that you could still be in addiction in these facilities.
In your behavior.
Because you could get in your behavior. You could get addicted to the power. Like you said, it could be addiction of other things. Wow.
Yeah.
Or just addiction of your sobriety date, or
you might think
different
better
things.
Than or greater
right.
than.
You start
lose
to just
compassion
look at other,
for the next addict coming in suffering.
and then that's when it becomes problematic because you can't heal in that.
Yeah. I've seen I'm at this one more story, man. When I got caught doing the spice, there was a person that worked at the facility that I was in, and he was what is it called, a court liaison. Like, you would have to go through him, tell him you want the program, and he goes to the judge and tell him. He had an office there. He made the biggest jokes at me when I got caught smoking Spice.
Right, he roasted you.
Mr. Spice and Mr. Casanova, huh? Yeah, Spice 1. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. So you make the big spectacle of it. I continue on through my 30 days and now I'm going to school for the counseling program, which is at a facility of the program that I was in. So when we used to go to the groups and stuff, that was downtown. However, their main hub was in Pasadena.
Got it.
That's where they held the class at.
Okay.
That same dude who had an office at the place was now a client there.
Wow. The same guy that was making fun of you?
The same dude, man. This
Wow.
fool was a business owner and all that, man. And they said he was at the office where we go to our groups at, and they said, we just heard a gang of furniture moving upstairs and shit. And went up in there, he was sweating bullets and had his glass tweaking.
This shit could get anybody, big bro.
The disease of addiction is cunning and baffling, bro.
Damn! So he was in the program, knee deep in the program, and ended up being in it.
Yeah.
That lets you know, like you said, cunning, baffling, all of that. This shit can get you. That's why I feel like addiction is one of the most conniving diseases that you can deal with it, because it deals with your mind. Like if you got cancer, or something with some kidneys, or a physical aspect, like that doesn't have much to do with your mind. Maybe the healing or how you think about it, or if you're stressing or whatever. But when you're dealing with addiction, this is all in your brain, and it can kind of make you make certain decisions. Like you don't
fool yourself into thinking you're cured, like thinking it's all good.
And you're all right.
In your own voice, it'll talk to you.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I suffer from alcoholism because, I suffer from probably one of the worst ones. When alcohol is a big dog, even it kills 3 million people a year.
Yes, it is.
But when you talk about how socially acceptable it is, and how how much money is made off of it, like something like crack or meth or heroin is looked down as much.
You got to go to the underworld.
For that stuff. But you can go get a beer
down the street
at a football game. You know what I'm saying? You get it everywhere. Exactly. So, but no, I think that you have a lot of game and knowledge when you're talking about, how it is just on a mental and spiritual level, because how it can trick you into thinking that you're okay. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lifelong journey, man. Abstinence from all controlled substances is one thing, but recovery is another thing.
So you just live, so you said, so abstinence and abstinence, so there's the difference between abstinence and recovery.
Yes, there
abstinence is just damn near white knuckling it. I can't do this.
You don't get high no more,
right?
And you don't pick up substances and shit, but
right,
you still have these behaviors and tendencies that you haven't addressed, though.
And recovery is addressing all those things.
The recovery is learning one day, gaining awareness one day at a time. Therapeutic value of one addict helping another, being in service and practicing principles in all your affairs. Practicing. We don't become perfect, but we just practice. If I can get through one day without telling one less lie that I did yesterday, then
we are practicing. I mean,
progress.
doctors practice medicine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're all practicing the things
always
that we
respect the process. Everything is a process. There's no such thing as microwave recovery.
Absolutely. That's a dope analogy. So how is your life these days? I mean, I know what you do for your work. Are you still, I know you're still into the music. I heard some of your music earlier today. Do you still do your graffiti and stuff? Like, what's your life looking like these days? As a sober man, 12 years, like what's life like?
Well, let me see. I'm still unmanageable in some areas. I got two little babies and two.
Women have been a constant theme in this interview. I'm like, brother, got a lot of women. every time period, every
but I'm saying I have my kids. That I've had since I've been clean. They're 8 and 9, prevalent in their lives and my kids' lives. I'm very, very prevalent in the graffiti scene in LA. We will be repainting the Crenshaw wall soon. We just got the legalities with the RTN crew. Shout out Create Inc. 1 Mark 7. So we'll be kicking that off soon. In regards to the music, I've been doing a lot of music lately with this conglomerate known as West Coast Creations. I don't know if this is time to start plugging my shit, but
no, plug it. Where can the people find you? Where can they, what you got coming up?
Let's see. In regards to the music, you can look on all streaming platforms under the name Monstroe, Monstroe. We will be opening up for Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Hey, okay.
On October the 7th, I believe it is, at the Garden Amphitheater. I got an album that I'm wrapping up called Demonstrative King.
Okay.
It's produced by a cat named C1.
It's a great title.
I just dropped a video to a song that I did by a gentleman by the name of Psycho Les from the world famous Beat Nuts. He produced a track as well as collabed with me on it, and the video is kind of getting
it's fire. I seen it
right
today
now.
And I loved it.
I appreciate you. The name of the song is called Exactly. By Monstroe. Now, in regards to the artwork, you could find my mural work and time lapses graffiti on Stroe STROE_ONER on Instagram. I'm available for commissions too, man. Big walls, whatever you need, digital.
Holla at him.
All that.
I may need to get you to come paint some stuff up at Studio 26 Productions.
Got that.
Well, no, man, I definitely want to thank you for blessing me with your time, man. You have an amazing story, man. I could have talked to you.
Congrats on your 30.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It means a lot to me, man. And, I definitely look up to you and your sobriety, man. Like, what I'm saying? I definitely have learned a lot in this interview. Like, what I'm saying? I learned a lot about addiction. I learned a lot about, the difference between recovery and staying abstinent from stuff. Like, thank you for sharing all the wisdom and the knowledge. And I hope you guys got something out of this too. This has been another installment of Sober Saturdays. I am your boy DoBoy, the big bro Monstroe. Make sure you check all this stuff out. We will check you guys out next Saturday. Please like the video, share the video, comment on the video, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Crenshaw District.
You know the vibes.